addressing really an overflow crowd, the auditorium today, was Mayor Doherty, here to welcome the nuns on the bus, but more importantly, to let the world know that Scranton is a welcoming community.
Absolutely, Todd. You know, we're here in South Scranton. Really was where the start of the immigration movement had taken place in Scranton over the last 25 years. And our city has changed dramatically in the 12 years I've been in as mayor. As I said in my speech, over 30 different languages are spoken today at Scranton High School. And I've opened up 2 Hindu temples. I've seen the opening of 2 Hindu temples, one in North Scranton and one in East Scranton. And our city has changed, and it's changed for the better. Immigration has made a great difference in Scranton and has improved our city tremendously.
It never ceases to amaze me when people complain about immigrants coming into their community. They are the hardest working group of people, and it's always been that way. Whether it was the Irish miners 100 years ago, or whether it's the south of the border immigrants, or from Pakistan and
Bhutan and the Bhutanese and the Nepalese. It is amazing, and you're so right, is that, you know, really immigration strengthens your city in a lot of different ways. First of all, it brings new families in from a different perspective that enriches your city because they have hopes and dreams. They have the American dream. They want to be successful. They want to have great education for their kids. They want their kids to be successful. And what we have found is that, especially here in South Scranton, because this is a neighborhood that really has changed dramatically, over the last 5 years, home ownership has risen dramatically in South Scranton. And that has happened through the immigrant community. And when you have home ownership, your crime drops. And our crime in South Scranton has dropped dramatically in the last 5 years. It is a great thing to have such change take place in our city, and it's a smart thing to do. I mean, as a mayor, it's one of the things I want to do because it only makes my city better. It makes it safer, it makes it richer, it develops new jobs, and allows people to come here and together, mixing with other nationalities, make us a better city.
The nuns on the bus. You and I are both products of an IHM education through grade school. The IHMs do magnificent things, but these ladies are really heroes of mine.
Well, let me tell you something. If it was the priests on the bus, I'd be a little nervous. I didn't know if they'd be able to be successful. We know the nuns get it done. They educated us, they ran the hospitals, they don't understand the meaning of no. They get things done, and these nuns are going to be very successful. They are IHM sisters who are very much involved in the city of Scranton. I had mentioned that I was an altar boy at the novitiate for the IHM when I was 10 years old. And so I've seen a lot of these sisters over the years and graduate and move up to true leadership positions. You know, people forget the nuns are presidents of colleges and universities, presidents of hospitals. They have tremendous jobs, and they've always been successful. And these sisters are going to be very successful.
Absolutely, and they show such courage.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the least popular issue in our church today is social justice. Unfortunately, we as a church have forgotten about the downtrodden and the poor. We're so taken up with discussing issues that are somewhat divisive, but everyone can rally around helping the poor. That's, as Matt Cartwright said so eloquently up there in Matthew 25, it's what the gospel teaches us.
The sisters have taught us that. They have reminded us that we have to make sure we welcome those who are new here, those who are struggling. And I remember, so just a few short years ago, when the Bhutanese community had come to Scranton, they actually were dropped off in buses. And in the middle of winter, they had no coats and they had no shoes. And it was Catholic Social Services and other volunteers in our community who took it upon themselves to make their lives better, and so that they could become indoctrinated into the city of Scranton. Last year on the 4th of July, my wife and I were in the Pedenswood section of Scranton, which is the back of Southside.
Sure.
And there we were with 2 Bhutanese families who had just purchased homes. They had captured the American dream, and they had called me and they said, Mayor, it is important that the mayor of our city come to our home on the 4th of July, and that we recognize that we are now Americans.
That's awesome.
It's a great story. But that's really talking about the richness of our community and their commitment to success and their investment in our city.
You know, when we talk about immigration, we forget the exploitation that takes place in the immigrant community. I mean, these people are in some cases enslaved. We had that with the Puerto Rico kids who were working in the meat packing plant about 12 years ago. Thank goodness Catholic Social Services unveiled it. But they were being brought up here, being told their plane ticket was $1,000 and that they had $100 a week had come out of their pay to pay for a plane ticket that probably cost $150.
Right.
Their rent was $400 in an apartment that was probably worth $50. And they never got paid.
Right.
And they were just the same way they are.
And they're afraid because they're afraid someone will say, oh, well, you know, we're going to cause trouble for you because they can't speak the language and they don't understand.
One of them had 4 fingers cut off.
Terrible.
The defense was they did it to themselves so they get workers' compensation. Did it to themselves. And they were told, file a claim and you'll have to walk back to Puerto Rico.
That's right.
It's horrible.
Terrible.
The exploitation. So, hey, thank you for being here.
My
Thank you
pleasure,
for
Todd.
12 years.
Well, I thank you very much. And hopefully this movement is going to keep going and that we'll be able to change immigration, get real immigration reform, and so that our country will be better.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Rabbi, your invocation was wonderful.
Thank you.
It's great to see you here. And I guess when you think of immigration, you think of Exodus.
Yes, well, that's a big place where it started. You know, the most common commandment in the first 5 books of the Bible, what we call the Torah, is welcome the stranger because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. And that's a lesson we're supposed to take to heart. That, you know, listen, if we don't treat strangers well, it's as if we're on the side of Pharaoh, not on the side of the children of Israel.
It is kind of refreshing to see the religious community, Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Catholics, Protestants, coming together on this issue. I have the privilege of serving on the board of directors of a group called the Interfaith Workers Justice. They're out of Chicago, and Kim Bobo has been a leader on the immigration fight and wage fairness, and a great book that she wrote on wage theft. But this is really a moral issue for our entire country, isn't it, Rabbi?
It definitely is. The notion of what America is built on is that we're a country of fairness and a country of justice and a country of opportunity. And this is really where the rubber meets the road on all those issues today. As long as immigrants can be exploited, that's going to detract from workers' rights for everybody. If we treat immigrants well, that's going to increase rights for everybody. If we think that opportunity comes from shutting people out, we're going to build a society that continues to shrink in both its moral scope and its physical one. If we build a country where we welcome people in, again, you know, everything blossoms.
You know, it's, to me, Scranton and Hazelton are a tale of two cities.
Yes.
Mayor Doherty was just on and spoke about how important the immigrant community has been to the city of Scranton, how it's created home ownership, how it's created safe streets, because immigrants who own homes are very conscious to fight crime and to notify the police. And you move down the highway 50 miles and you would think that people in Hazelton live in a war zone.
Right, and it keeps getting more and more empty, and the difference is we're welcoming people here and they're chasing people away, and one would think that you would learn from that. You know, that this is a wonderful case study of the positive difference that immigration can make to communities that are hard up. We're not talking about a community in Scranton that, you know, where everything was hunky-dory, but we're better off because of immigration.
Well, thank you for the work that you do, Rabbi,
Thanks.
and thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
that beautiful prayer.
Oh, thank you so
great.
much. I was glad to do it. The sisters are some of my heroes. Sister Campbell, I've heard speak a number of times, and she's just a wonderful
They're
person.
fantastic.
So,
they really are.
Yeah.
They take to heart the message of the gospel. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Not all voices here were united and as welcoming as some of our speakers have been to the message of the friends or the nuns on the bus. Marianne Lawn is here carrying a sign that indicates that social justice begins in the womb.
Yes.
And as a strong pro-life advocate, I assume, as so many people I've heard say, is that the nuns on the bus are about abortion or the nuns on the bus are about gay rights. My experience with them is that their major discussion has always been social justice. And while I agree 100% with life begins in the womb, I think the message that they bring is that a community needs to be welcoming of our immigrant community, welcoming of our poor, and trying to lift our poor up. And I know there are other people in the audience that felt the same way you did.
Yes. Well, I'm here because I am the voice of John. That is the title of a documentary which I just completed, but I represent the unborn. And I feel strongly, first of all, as a Catholic, a Christian, that how can one represent social justice when they don't take a stand opposing abortion at any stage.
Hi, I'm Todd O'Malley with the law offices of O'Malley and Langen. If I say the phrase life-changing experience, what do you think? Getting married, having a baby, buying a home, all good things. I'll bet you didn't think work injury. And that's a problem with our society. People don't realize a work injury can change everything. Destroy your earning power, hurt your family, and damage your health. If you're hurt on the job, call O'Malley and Langen, 1-800-817-COMP.